Jones, are you familiar with the name Catherine Engelbrecht?
I think that is an individual who, yes.
Okay. And you're familiar with the fact that she testified in front of this committee 8 weeks ago, and her testimony under oath was that in 16 years of operating her business, the only interaction she'd had with the federal government was filing her annual tax return. She files for tax-exempt status for two organizations she was involved in creating, True the Vote and King Street Patriots, and then gets all kind of interaction with the federal government. OSHA visits her place of business. Never happened in her first 16 years, but then OSHA visits her place of business twice. The IRS audits both her personal and business records for 2 years. The FBI pays her 6 visits, 2 in person, 4 on the phone, and another organization, your organization, pays her 2 visits as well. I sent you a letter 6 weeks ago asking for documents relating to the visits ATF made to Ms. Engelbrecht's place of business, and you've yet to respond to us. Is there a reason why you can't get us those documents?
Well, I can check into what the delay is in the response. I can tell you, Congressman, that
it's been 6 weeks, Mr. Jones, and it seemed to me to be a pretty simple search. Put the name Engelbrecht into your computers, come up with the documents, get them to Chairman Issa and myself.
My understanding, Ms. Engelbrecht's interactions with us, and I cannot speak for any of the other federal agencies involved, a license request and a qualification inspection and then a follow-up inspection.
So she had that license for 12 years. Why did you suddenly decide to go visit her? She previous 12 years never had any interaction with you. You visited her in February 2012 and April 2013. Why did you visit her on those dates? Why did you visit her twice in 13 months when for the first 12 years you never paid her any visit?
Congressman, I will get back to you on the letter.
Let me read what the Inspector General's report says about how ATF goes out and looks at federal firearms licensees' compliance inspections. It says you look for high-risk indicators. Is that true?
That is one of the factors when...
High-risk indicator says this, such as a high number of guns used in crimes being traced back to the licensee, numerous multiple sales by a federal firearms licensee to a single individual, theft or losses of firearms, location in a high-crime area, tips from state or local law enforcement agents. Do you know if you had any of those circumstances, any of those indicators, were any of those present before you went to visit Ms. Engelbrecht?
I don't have the information sufficient in front of me to answer
I can tell you none of them were. And yet you show up 12 years, never heard from ATF in 12 years, and then suddenly she applies for tax-exempt status, and you're knocking on her door twice in 13 months.
Congressman, I wish I had better answers as to what
other
agencies...
I do too, Mr. Jones. This is a pretty important issue. It's been front and center in the news for over a year now. I do too. Can you imagine what this lady felt like? She gets the full weight of the federal government coming down on her, her family, and her business, and all she's trying to do is get a tax-exempt status that had been routine for 50 years, and suddenly now the federal government is saying, no, 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 you're not going to get that tax-exempt status, and we're going to send 4 federal agencies out to harass you, including yours.
Well, Congress, it's unfortunate that you and Ms. Engelbrecht think it's harassment. From our perspective, it's part of our regulatory function, both to do qualifications.
You think it's unusual that 4 federal agencies visit her in that short time frame?
I can't speak for other agencies other than ATF.
Let me ask you this. Did anyone at the White House encourage ATF to pay Ms. Engelbrecht a visit and go inspect?
No.
Did any other federal agency talk to you or anyone at ATF and encourage you to inspect and visit Ms. Engelbrecht?
No.
Did any member of Congress contact you or anyone at ATF and encourage you to go out and visit and inspect Ms. Engelbrecht's federal firearms license?
Not to my knowledge.
No knowledge of anyone contacting you at all. Did you talk? Have you talked to any other federal agency about what you learned or discussed or discovered when you visited Ms. Engelbrecht's place of business?
Not to my knowledge.
What did you discover when you visited there in February of 2012 and April of 2013?
It's a qualification inspection. I have no idea based on what I have.
Was there any citations, any problems, any fines, anything that you discovered?
I don't know.
Our understanding is there's not. We've talked to Ms. Engelbrecht. In fact, we had her sit right in that same chair and answer questions from this committee. Let me ask you one other question. Did Tom Perez have any input into your agency's determination to go and inspect and investigate Ms. Engelbrecht's place of business?
No.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.